Hey everyone, welcome to the channel where we love to talk about movies. Welcome especially if you're new. If you enjoy talking about movies and staying up to speed on what's in theaters and what's worth checking out, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a review. Alright, with that we're going to get into today's review, which is for Air. I just got back from seeing it in the theaters, so let's dive on in. So in this movie, it follows the history of shoe salesman Sonny Vaccaro, if I'm saying that correctly, and how he led Nike in its pursuit of the greatest athlete in the history of basketball, Michael Jordan. So yeah, we'll just dive on in. I'll keep this spoiler free, although I feel like the movie as a whole, if you're aware on pop culture at all, like how the story turns out, I think everybody would know. So there's not really much you could necessarily spoil, I would think. But we'll talk kind of generally, I think, on this, and yeah, keep it spoiler free. So. Things that I liked about the film, I liked the cinematography for this. It had several kind of long takes as it followed characters winding their way through the office space as they're having conversations and stuff. And I thought that was just an interesting way to do that. It doesn't cut very much in those, so it's just a fluid conversation. And yeah, just it's better than them kind of standing still and having the camera on them. So I thought that was nicely done. There was one interesting shot where Sonny is out to eat. I want to say it was with Howard, but maybe it was with somebody else. Anyway, the camera keeps it focused kind of in and out. It was interesting how that did that. Like it would be positioned back, and yeah, it would kind of focus between the two characters or go like slightly out of focus and then back in. And that stood out to me. I'm not really sure what the artistic reason was behind that, but I found it interesting. I also thought it was interesting that they didn't really show Michael Jordan. Like they kind of strategically hide his face in all the shots, and you get to see him sort of, but you never get to see his face to my knowledge. At least the actor playing him, and then we only hear him a little bit. But there again, I think that was interesting. I think the story is like for this particular story about Michael Jordan, I think they chose to focus it more on the people at Nike and then his parents, which I found interesting. So running through the characters, just I liked most of the characters overall. I thought that Sonny was interesting. I think Matt Damon definitely brings a lot of charisma to that role, and I'm curious how different the real Sonny is from how Matt Damon portrayed him. Like how much of that is Matt Damon and how much of it was Sonny. But it was interesting kind of seeing him, and like I didn't quite get the dynamic between him and Phil, the CEO, like why they were as close as they were. It felt like there was a bit more history there that they didn't really talk to in the film. So I'm gonna be inclined to Google that and kind of look that up. But it was like I don't know, Sonny didn't seem like important enough necessarily to be that comfortable in Phil's office as much as he was. But yeah, I feel like they were friends and they kind of go way back, but they also work together, so they have to kind of be professional and that sort of a thing. So it's kind of interesting. Other ones that stood out, I really like Jason Bateman in this film. Again, he's Jason Bateman. I'm curious how much Jason Bateman lines up with I think his name is Rob, the character in the movie. How much he lines up with him in real life, because this just felt like he was playing Jason Bateman. But there again, it's makes sense for somebody who's in marketing, I guess. So I liked kind of the dynamic between him and Sonny, and I like kind of in the second half of the film where they're like pulling a long weekend. He gets like he opens up to Sonny and kind of expresses some more personal stuff, and that was interesting. You don't necessarily see people do that all that often, especially not in the workplace always. So that was nice to see. I thought that Peter, I think he's the shoe designer. He again was kind of fun to bring into the scenes when they're actually designing the shoe and that sort of a thing. I really liked the Michael Jordan's agent. He was just a fun sort of character, fun to sort of like hate, and I don't know. I think he is good at his job, but he's also a very lonely individual, as the film points out. But definitely was amusing to watch the scenes between him and Sonny. And then, yeah, I thought it was interesting that the film focuses on Mr. and Mrs. Jordan, and Mrs. Jordan takes the lead between the two. She's kind of the main person that Sonny's trying to talk to get to close the deal. So that was interesting. I think it makes sense for kind of what I understood of Michael Jordan and kind of his relationship with his parents. But yeah, it was well done, I thought. And Viola Davis, as always, knocks it out of the park. Makes it seem so effortless. I think all these characters do. They all are top tier actors, and I think it's sometimes can be lost at how good they are when you're just surrounded by a bunch of good actors and they just do their job so well. So the the one thing I would say, though, the movie definitely does not pass the Bechdel test, as far as I'm aware, anyway. So that's, I mean, it's the story that it is. I don't know how, if you could, like, well, that's another critique. I don't know for sure how true to the real story this is. It seems like it's probably pretty true. Like, it didn't seem like anything in there would have been added for the sake of it. Maybe some of the dialogue and some of like the speeches and monologues, but yeah, I'm curious if, like, I don't know, finding the balance of like inserting stuff to maybe make it a more appealing, or yeah, like a wider net appeal of a movie versus keeping it more true to the story. I think that's a fine line to walk, but I think so that at least was interesting. I didn't really care as much for the music in this film. I thought that it wasn't bad, it just didn't really stick out. And yeah, that's kind of those are just a couple of the minor nitpicks that I had with the film. But overall, it was an enjoyable film. It, told a story that I wasn't familiar with, so I think that's and it was one that I found interesting, played by actors that I enjoy, playing characters that are kind of fun to watch. So overall, this is a solid B for me. It's not one that I would say you gotta go out and see, but it's definitely a good time and just a lot of fun, I thought. So I recommend it if you're looking for something to watch. Maybe doesn't need to be seen in theaters if you're kind of on the fence, like, does it demand the big screen? It certainly doesn't hurt, but I would say definitely check it out on streaming if you're, at home and just looking for something to watch. So if you've had a chance to see it, though, I'd love to hear your comments or your thoughts on it in the comments down below. Is it a sort of film that you liked, or was it, did you like it better than me? I know it's been getting a lot of reviews for, like, I think it's in the mid 90s on Rotten Tomatoes. And so I was kind of expecting it to maybe be a little bit better than it was, but I don't know. I thought it told an interesting story, but wasn't overly groundbreaking for a film. So I think a B is still a good score. It's a good film, just wasn't great in my opinion. But if you enjoyed this review, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. And with that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.